All right, we're about a minute after, so I think let's get started. Welcome to our quarterly Innovator Awards. I work with clients here at LiveClicker to help drive their programs forward. My name is Andy Werner. I'm your host for today. And our Innovator Awards are a great program where we recognize outstanding, clever, and innovative campaigns and programs that our clients are running. And it's quarterly, so keep track of what you're doing over the next quarter and feel free to submit something to us when we're ready. I know that you guys are doing some cool stuff over the holidays. And I think that this is an especially important Innovator Award show because never in my 10-year email career has innovation been more important, right? We're all being asked to do even more with even less, and to be asked to work not only smarter, but also harder. But as they say, necessity is the mother of all invention, or for Milan fans, the flower that blooms in adversity is the most rare and beautiful of all. So, you know, in the light of kind of what's going on globally, I think that we have some really great submissions today from two awesome marketers. We have a great British bake-off aficionado, Faith from Hot Topic. She is an email marketing manager at Hot Topic, like I said. Welcome, Faith. And then we have great British baker herself, Steph, from Visualsoft, a great agency partner of ours. Thanks for being here, both.
Thank you.
All right, so let's start talking about some of the programs that were submitted. Both of you did some really cool stuff over the last quarter. And why don't we start there? Why don't we flip to the next slide and we'll take a look, I think, Faith, first at what you did.
Should I just explain the campaign?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, tell us about it.
So we wanted to do this kind of mystery deal, mystery offer email campaign, and so kind of really fun. Like, customers didn't know what offer they were going to get until they opened the email. And we, use LiveClicker to kind of gamify it. Like, they open the email and it doesn't show them the offer right away. They have to like click to actually see what offer they received. And they could have either gotten 30, 40, or 50. Kind of, you could see the creative sort of, when they first open it, it has an animation where it sort of cycles through, blinking, all of the offer options. And this was a really fun campaign, a really cool campaign. One, because it was just a really enticing offer for the customer, but also I think there was something about like the motion of it and the mystery of it that really drove people to click. So as you can see on the slide, we had a 30% increase in click to open rates. And then once you actually clicked, I think you were sort of really invested. So we had a 14% increase in conversion rate too.
Yeah, which is huge. That's a huge thing. And I was told that this is one of your better performing, if not best performing campaigns outside of a typical holiday campaign. Is that right?
It is, yeah.
So I guess for me, I think that this sounds really good. And one of the things that I thought about was, is too much of a good thing a real thing, right? Is this something that you're planning on continuing doing over the holiday season, or what is kind of the frequency of campaigns like this look like for you?
Yeah, it's something we're planning to repeat, but we're definitely trying to limit it to just a few times a year, because I think we all know it's really easy to get carried away when you have the excitement of a good thing, as you called it.
Yeah.
So we need to be careful not to overdo it. Otherwise, we risk minimizing the effectiveness. Part of what makes the mystery scratcher so special is that it's a mystery. And if we overuse it, then that novelty, that surprise is gone. But yeah, I mean, I think that said, there are definitely opportunities to take the same functionality, but give it a different message. This one was 30, 40, 50, but we could definitely keep it fresh by maybe changing the offer or making it not offer driven at all, and maybe making it more about content and turning it into some kind of game.
Right. Awesome. Let's take this opportunity, speaking of games and speaking of new novel content, to talk to Steph a little bit about the program that you ran on the next slide. So Steph comes to us again from an agency, and they did this campaign on behalf of one of their clients.
Yeah. So one of the clients that we worked with is FitKit, and they sell a range of different fitness equipment for home gyms or commercial as well. So they joined the email service at Visualsoft back in kind of April and May time, and we really wanted to find out what subscribers wanted to hear about, but more in terms of what were their fitness goals. So what were the reasons that they were signing up to this newsletter? What did they want to achieve? So whether that be, they wanted to run 5K, or they wanted to become stronger or lose weight. So we used the live poll feature of Live Clicker to include those type of questions in the emails. So you can see there some of the effects of the campaign, how well it worked. So the interactive nature of the poll meant that we got a really high increase in clicks, as you can see there. And kind of like what Faith was just saying, that because people are really engaging with that content, it means that they're then more likely to convert afterwards. So because we're kind of sending them through to a relevant page after they've made that interaction, it also got a really great increase in conversions as well, and orders placed from email marketing. So yeah, kind of really great.
Yeah, and this is almost an interesting flip side to Faith's situation, where Faith, is sort of maybe thinking about ways that she can keep the spice alive, right, and keep her campaign kind of exciting. And in your case, maybe it's a little bit different, because you're asking one question, right, in this poll, but then you have the opportunity to either take that information and refine, right, with another question, or maybe move on to a completely different question altogether. So it almost is more of a repetitive campaign where you're progressively profiling people to whom you're sending emails. Was there any specific thought process that went into the questions that you're asking, knowing that you can maybe use this information to learn more about your customers, or your clients' customers, I suppose, and use that information for further information?
Yeah, I think the reason that we've picked these first questions is because everyone has a fitness goal. So everyone who is interacting with that brand and is interested in fitness has a reason behind why they're doing that. So I guess we thought, if we find out what that is, we can then kind of send them through a more targeted journey based upon whatever their goal is. And once we find out what motivates that person and what their interests are, and kind of make sure that we send in the right content to those people, they're more likely to engage. And as you say, as we go along, gathering more and more data about that person to try and kind of create a bit of a profile.
Yeah, I love that. And another interesting thing that I thought about both of these campaigns was, Steph, in your case, I think a lot of people think of Live Clicker as some way to show data, or some way that you kind of use the data that you already have to create personalized content. But for you guys, you're sort of using Live Clicker in the opposite way, right? You're using it to gather information, which I think is also kind of an interesting turn. And for you, Faith, I think that one of the other things people think of when they think of Live Clicker is more time, right? That if you want to put something that's special in your email, you're going to have to put in some special work to make it happen. But in your case, it was a little bit different, right?
Yeah. That's the thing. I know that with Live Clicker, it's all about personalization, and really, when we looked at our campaigns and how we wanted to use Live Clicker, our motivation was more about efficiency, like making something easier, or just a better experience. So we had actually done mystery scratchers before signing with Live Clicker, but they were really manual and not as fun, honestly. We really relied on like our CRM team to build out our lists. And when we first started using them, we actually would do like 3 separate lists, 3 separate email builds, 3 separate sends, like super manual. Like eventually we were able to figure out how to do the dynamic images, but it cut down the process a lot, but not enough. I think between our team and the CRM team, we were still spending like an entire day, like an entire 8-hour day building out these campaigns. But then when we decided to start using Live Clicker for these, it really took the weight off of both teams, but mostly CRM. Like we didn't need to have them pull lists anymore, because we were able to just use our normal everyday list, our normal everyday send, instead of having them write SQL to randomly assign a code and an offer to a customer, we are able to let the platform do that. They're assigned by the platform at the time of open. Instead of us having to like worry about coding, AMP script and, assorted dynamic language, that's all taken care of when we set up the campaign, and we just drop the embed code. So, we totally gave the CRM team an entire day back, and then we got, probably a few hours back in our day too.
Well, dang. Okay, that sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of a similar thing. Sorry, I was just going to say from our campaign as well. Even though you wouldn't necessarily think that campaign saved time, it really did, because if we hadn't gathered that data in that way, we would have had to manually try and kind of collect that data, maybe based upon other behavioural insights or purchase history and that kind of thing. So we maybe could have found out, perhaps some of that information without Live Clicker, potentially, but the amount of time that it would have taken to do that reporting would be crazy. So it did kind of save time, like a lot of time, even though that necessarily wasn't the aim of the campaign.
Yeah, it's one of my follow-up questions for you was, how was collecting data before? Were they doing it on site at all, or was it?
Yeah, so they were using a preference form center to try and ask subscribers what type of emails they wanted to receive. But that was, they would kind of send an email, and then it would be like a follow-up click to kind of go to that page to fill it in. So we found that being able to gather insight in this way straight into the email meant that we gathered a lot more data, because subscribers could just do it a lot more easily without having to go and have a secondary click to gather that data. So preference forms do have their place, but kind of using as much kind of different data as you can to try and create those profiles is beneficial, we found.
Maybe a little bit more engagement rather than interaction or action, I would say, right? A little more fun, a little spicier.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. And I think with the polls as well, because you can see the percentages change, and as a subscriber, you can see that other people before you have interacted with this. You're more likely to kind of get involved in that community almost of people that have interacted. So yes, it's really great.
Yeah, and the community is great. I feel like you're setting me up or something. Because my next question for you, Faith, was one of the things that I was reading in your case study, and I'll read it just to make sure I don't get it wrong, but it says that Hot Topic is more than a store, it's a lifestyle, it's an experience, right? And I think that at least a lot of us here in the US have seen Hot Topic, been to Hot Topic, are kind of aware of Hot Topic. And when I think about it, I think that you really create an experience in your store, right? You have a very specific, very diverse clientele, and I feel like you do a really good job at creating that community around common things that people like, or bands or shows or things like that. Do you have any sort of insight into how you can take that community feeling, or how you can take that sort of idea of being in the store online, especially now?
Yeah, I mean, I guess like with us, like you said, like everyone has kind of like fond memories, well, I say everyone, but I mean people who have grown up around a Hot Topic, kind of have fond memories of visiting there in their youth. Or I mean, we actually have plenty of people who never stopped, they never stopped being young and still shop at Hot Topic. And it's something about when you walk in, there's always just something exciting to see no matter where you look. And I think that that's what we try to bring to the website and to our emails, is just kind of capture that feeling of walking into the Hot Topic and there's something going on, and there's something there for you, like I think that's the important thing about the community feeling, is feeling like you're represented in a way. So like whether you're, like you said, a music fan, or a sci-fi fan, or a Disney fan, you walk in and you see that product, and so for our translating that to digital, when you go into the site, like you see sort of like every corner of the store is represented digitally on our homepage. You know, if you go into our t-shirt node and look at tees, it should be the same feeling as walking up to the t-shirt wall at the store, you know, or typing in Disney in the search bar is the same as asking an associate, where's the Disney stuff? And they lead you to the Disney section.
Yeah.
And that's just really like, that's the site, but it's the same feel on email too, you know, it's a consistent look and feel. It's really a celebration of all things pop culture, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. And I did some professional stalking, or stalking of your professional life, I suppose, is probably a better way to put that. But I noticed that you used to work in a sunglass store, a big one here in the US that we might think of as a hut. And when I think about selling sunglasses, that is so personalized, right? You go into the store, you're probably buying them for yourself. You probably try on a bunch of different pairs. You probably put them on your face. At least in the past world, you put them on your face and you stared at yourself in the mirror, and it was extremely personalized, right? How do you after having worked in, I guess, a situation where somebody is in the store, someone is expecting very personalized service for a very personalized product, how do you take what you learned there and translate it into your program and your career now?
You know, my biggest takeaway from selling sunglasses in a hut is that my biggest takeaway is really it's about listening to the customer and leading them to the right choice. It's not selling to the customer,
Right.
it's listening. And which is kind of like what I love so much about Steph's poll is that that was one way to listen. You asked a question and you got feedback and then you act on it, you know. So like at the hut, you know, if someone came in and just I didn't listen to them and I just showed them the most expensive pair of sunglasses in the store, you know,
Yeah.
it wouldn't work because
That's the
it's
thing.
not one size fits all, you know. Instead I had to like listen to what they wanted, what they needed, what they were going to use these glasses for, and then make recommendations based off of that, and then just help give them the information to make the choice that's right for them. And when you think about it that way, like we do that every day already as digital marketers. You know, we listen to what the customers are telling us. It's just their signals are in the form of their purchase behavior, their email engagement, you know, how they browse and move about the website, you know, and we take that information and then we turn around and send them product recommendations. We email them personalized content, you know, because we know that it's about giving them options. It's not one size fits all.
Yeah.
So I mean that's kind of really how I approach things is trying to remember that, you know, you have to give them the options. And I also approach it as it has to be fun. You know, people would come back to the store because we make it a fun experience. You know, you don't go back to a store or to a site if you have a negative experience, or I mean even a neutral experience is bad because it's forgettable, you know. So
Yeah.
like we want to give them something to talk about, something cool. And that was actually one of the coolest things about the scratchers is that after we launched the scratcher, I'd see people like on our social channels talking about it and like screenshotting it and being like, what did you get? What did you know, like what offer did you get? I got this one. You know, and like
Yeah.
like I got this one. It's such a good offer, you know, and that was just really fun to see that they were having fun with it, you know, and I mean that's having the customers having fun with it and remembering it is super important to me because like I mean, it's my job, so I have to, you know, it's my job, but like it doesn't have to be boring, you know?
Right. Right.
And
Right.
like I try to create things that are fun and that are exciting, and I want customers to feel that way too.
Yeah. Yeah. And I really think that you can see kind of the joy come through that you have in what you're doing. Which, Steph, that's a great point. I don't know if you have any comments on sort of the idea of, or that Faith was talking about, or anything like that. I know that you also came from kind of a graphic design background, right?
Yeah, I did. So
So does that
it is
sort of,
important to kind of, like make things visual. Like people really interact with things that, you know, they find appealing. And I guess like that's the good thing about Live Clicker, that there's so many different kind of dynamic elements that you can add to an email to make it exciting. And as like Faith said, like if we see an email and think, oh yeah, that's really great, it's got, you know, loads of different content in there for loads of different people, it's exciting, you know, it's interactive, it's going to be exciting for in the inbox as well when your subscribers see it.
Yeah, there's something almost addictive. Like they see the thing and they have to engage. Like they have to click, because I mean, like what you were saying before about like the people seeing what percentage of people voted already and like which one's in the lead kind of thing. It's just there's something about like I need to add my input. Like I need to
Yeah,
be a part of that.
yeah, definitely, I agree.
Last question before we move on to audience questions. For you, Seth, you are in kind of an interesting situation where you work at an agency that has a number of different clients, right? How do you sort of see LiveClicker as a tool to help you create value for your clients, or how do you see LiveClicker as a tool to create kind of let's call them opportunities to collect data or show data, or I guess how do you match LiveClicker up with clients?
Yeah, so as you say, we at Visualsoft, we have a team dedicated to email marketing, and we work with a range of different clients. So we've got over 100 clients that we work with that we use LiveClicker for. So this poll that I've mentioned here in FitKit, this is just one example of the difference in LiveClicker features that we use. And we use a range of different ones based upon the strategy for the client, what we're trying to achieve. I think we, as you kind of said, we do have our own in-house email platform, which has some really great features. It's kind of built in the back end of the website, so it means we have like purchase data, so we can do a lot of segmentation and automation based upon that, which is great. So using LiveClicker as well is a really great addition to the tools that we already have. So being able to make sure that each email can, you know, differ for each recipient, so kind of based upon their location, the device that they open in, that kind of thing, to make emails a lot more relevant. So for clients, kind of like what we've been mentioning with the interactive element, when clients see those type of emails, they do just get excited about it because it is something different, rather than just kind of a static image and then, you know, maybe some products and then maybe kind of like a shop now. It is just a different email, which means for them, when they're looking at it, they get excited about it. But also for them, it means that they can stand out against their competitors, which kind of business-wise is obviously really good because they want to make sure that their emails and kind of digital platform in general is performing better than their competitors. And then for us in the email team, it's really good because it's great for us as a team to be kind of making sure that we are designing and implementing emails that are kind of in line with industry trends and kind of all the best practices. So yes, it's really good, a really good range of tools that we can use in line with the platform and the features that we already have.
That's awesome. All right, so now is the time when we're going to move on to audience questions. Are you guys ready? We have a couple.
Yeah.
All right, Faith, first one's for you. Faith, what are the you're ready, you got this. What are the demographics or segments of those who go to your stores versus those who subscribe to your email? Are you, I guess, sending emails to people who don't necessarily go to your stores, or do you have people coming in your stores who don't necessarily get your email? I think it's kind of the idea of the question.
I don't really know how to answer this question very well because I don't know what you're looking for. I think that we have a pretty healthy overlap of people who shop in both channels, stores and web, on our email list, which is part of the reason why it's so important that it's consistent. Like we wouldn't want the store to feel different from web. So, you know, those emails really are our way of bridging the gap. Yeah, no, our list is pretty solidly omni, I would say. There's very few people I think that are on our email list who are strictly a store shopper or strictly a web shopper. Yeah.
Probably the same. Probably big overlap.
Yeah.
This one sounds like it was planted. What are some of your favorite or most effective ways to personalize this moment of open data? So I think that you both talked a little bit about different things that you've done or different ways that you've used LiveClicker. Is there anything outside of the campaigns that we shared today that you've done that has particularly stood out? Or I guess I can kind of change this question. Are there any ways that you've seen moment of open data used for personalization that you haven't necessarily done yourself, but are maybe hoping to try or thought looked cool?
Yeah, so I think what you said there about time of opening. So we also work with a lot of fashion retailers, and what we find is really good for time of opening is like kind of changing content based upon the weather at time of opening or the temperature. So, for example, if it's raining outside at time of opening, you might want to show kind of like a rainy image with some coats, for example. Whereas, you know, if it's sunny, you might want to show t-shirts or sunglasses, that kind of thing. So it means that, you know, each recipient that opens it is still finding some relevant content and some relevant product recommendations in there, rather than necessarily presuming that everyone's having a rainy day, so you know everyone should see these quotes, for example. You know, that is just not relevant to some people, so that's one way that we kind of change that up.
Yeah, I'm guessing that the weather I'm having in Minnesota, which is snow right now, is probably a little bit different than Faith in California.
Yeah, I'm on fire, so I would like sunglasses.
Yeah,
Sure.
very different. That's an excellent example. Especially now, I think, as we go into like fall and spring, right? When you know, I think even within the UK or especially within North America, you can have such wildly different situations where people open. It's a great example. Do you have one, Faith?
Yeah, I mean, we've been using like a lot of a moment of open elements in our emails, especially around promotions. My fear is like going into holiday is we're going to be sending so many messages during holiday, and a lot of them are going to be time sensitive, right? So I think that like we kind of get a little cerebral, and we think of like how the emails are a journey, and there's this misconception that the customers may be on the journey with us in the same order and at the same time, and they're not necessarily. Like, you know, we could send them 5 emails and they might open them in totally different order than we actually sent them. And so our big thing last holiday was making sure that no matter what email they opened, it always was reflecting the current offer and the current like where it was currently available, and whether or not it was ending soon, you know. So that's one thing that we did last holiday, where, you know, if you opened an email that I sent at the beginning of Black Friday, you opened it in those like final hours, it would tell you final hours, you know.
Get on it or move on.
Yeah, you know, it was sent like a day ago. Where have you been? Like final hours, you know, to take advantage of this cool deal. And so I kind of really like that. I like being able to make all of the emails feel consistent and appropriate for that moment, feel time sensitive for that moment, no matter when the customer opens it.
Yeah, so a good example. All right, we have another audience question. This one is for Hot Topic. I think that both of you may have some input on this one. The question reads, Hot Topic is a physical store, right? And there is obviously a pandemic on. We're all absolutely aware of that. And the question is around, are you trying to sort of get people sort of young, healthy, low risk to be in person? Or are you trying to convert them to online for shopping? Are you trying to transition the customer away from in-person shopping with your emails? And I guess you both probably either are or work with clients who have physical stores. Do you sort of have any thoughts around that? I mean, obviously follow CDC guidelines, be safe. But, you know, is there any sort of strategy in terms of what you're doing pandemic-wise, whether it's like have a couple people come into the store or maybe just shop online?
Yeah, I mean, I think that what we're focusing on is less about, like, we don't want to force people into stores, but we also don't want to force them online. It's more about just giving them the options, like kind of echoing what I said before, giving them the options and letting them choose what's right for them. So our strategy has really been like, hey, we have a lot of content, a lot of products online, you know, and a lot of really cool online exclusives. So, you know, we'd love for you to shop online, and here's all of the shipping options. But also, a lot of our message has been around, here's what we're doing to make the stores safe for you. You know, so you can shop online, but if you want, you can pick it up in store, and then you're in store just for a few moments, you know, or where available, we're really letting people know that we have curbside available. Some malls are setting up points where you can pick up your items from your car, you know, and I think that that's really what the focus is just making sure that whether you shop online or if you choose to go into the store, that you feel safe, and you feel that you have the option to decide what's right for you.
Yeah, for sure. Stephanie,
I think it's just about being kind of just informational, isn't it? Just kind of letting people know, you know, what they need to know. So have the opening times changed? Do you need to book an appointment now rather than just turning up as you usually would?
Yeah.
You know, like highlighting all those things, like, you know, is there a one-way system in the shop? Kind of what measures have been taken, you know, with staff as well. You know, some of our clients are kind of family-run businesses, so actually their subscribers are really interested to hear about the welfare of the employees as well. You know, if they order online, are they making sure that their employees that are in the warehouse are kind of being safe and that kind of thing? So just giving subscribers as much information as possible rather than directing them one way or the other, just kind of giving the information for them to use how they wish, really.
Yeah.
That's a great point. All right, I think it doesn't look like there are any more questions. Do you guys have any closing comments or anything that you wish we talked about that we didn't? Any jokes to tell or anything? Everyone? No?
I've not got any jokes, no.
All right.
No
Well,
jokes. No, but I mean, just if anything, I would just say, you know, have fun with it. Like that's the thing. Like I think the reason why, you know, the poll was so successful that Steph did, and why the scratcher was so successful, is because it really was just from a place of, I want to do something cool, you know. Like I kind of like we kind of did it for ourselves, you know. We're like, let's break it up and make something fun. And I think that when you're having fun, that's when the best ideas will come to you.
Yeah, and the results too.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that people sometimes confuse fun with maybe not the most productive
Not valuable.
time.
Yeah.
Right, but that's not necessarily true.
Yeah.
Yeah, joy shows through in performance for sure. All right.
I think it's just like putting yourself in the subscriber's shoes, isn't it? Like, would you interact with that if you saw it? And like obviously on the lead up to Black Friday, what are you going to do to try and stand out in that inbox?
Especially, yeah. Cool. Well, thank you so much, both of you, for your time today. I really appreciate it. You guys are awesome marketers, awesome people, and you deserve this award, absolutely. So, you know, for those of you listening, like I said earlier, we do this quarterly. Look out for submissions. Think of all the fun that you can have over the next few months before the next submissions. And then if we move on to the next slide, you'll see that we have a couple resources that are going out. Afterwards, we have both case studies, both Faith and Steph's case studies, as well as a 6 winning personalization strategies for email creatives book that's really great and a fun read to get you guys moving. So with that, thank you again both for your time. I really appreciate it. Awesome job. Congratulations. Thanks to our audience for joining us today. We hope you had fun as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.